Considering that we're in 2019 and everyone has a smartphone that's as good as a Nintendo Switch, or in some cases even better, like the ROG phone or even the Razer phone. So it's about time we switch up our gaming platforms. Pun Nintendo'd. So these games are the best console ports that you can play on your smartphone, or the ones that are built with mobile gaming in mind. So no PUBG or Fortnite, as they're better played on a console. But some kids will say, where's Fortnite? Well, like a wise man once said, they hate us because they ain't us.
Stardew Valley. A sleeper hit made by one man, Eric Barone. This cute farming simulator is an iOS port of the game Stardew Valley that came out on PC that blew everyone's mind when it came out. You can fish, cattle, farm, mine, date, the list just goes on. I spent over 50 hours, but it just keeps going. It's very addictive. Her story. In this wildly inventive whodunit, you're given the reins to uncover the mystery by yourself and piece it together by watching interrogation tapes. You're doing the detective work by yourself with no helpful hints or guided dialogue trees. This port is perfect for mobile, as all you do is type into a database for search results. It's by far the most riveting narrative I've seen on iOS platform so far. Don't miss this one. Lara Croft Go. Probably my favourite of the Go series by Square Enix. It understands the essence of a classic Lara Croft game and is impeccably translated into a turn-based puzzler. Makes you think laterally, which is what a good puzzle game should do. Binding of Isaac. Pretty much the ground zero of roguelikes, and where better to play it rather than your mobile. You play as Issac, who uses his tears to defeat poop and bosses made of different toiletries. It's a classic PC game. This is a good place to start if you've never played a roguelike, or even heard of them. Monument Valley. It's a clever puzzle game where you bend the worlds in the game rather than objects, which carved the subgenre onto itself in the mobile platform. The goal is to figure out how you guide your character to a particular objective by changing the world around it. Donut County. This simple yet effective notion of playing as a sinkhole is very addictive. You move the hole around and consume everything around you. It's a tad expensive for its short run, but it's most definitely worth it. Inside. Playdet's second game after Limbo was an instant classic for its ambiguous narrative and puzzle level design. It's a briskly paced puzzle platformer for about 3 hours. You need to play it if you haven't already. Limbo. Limbo is similar to Inside, except it's completely 2D. Its atmospheric platforming is some of the best you'll see in any platform, pardon the pun. Puzzles here are harder than that of Inside, but really fair. Don't Starve. It's an open world survival game with endurance at its core, like running. There's no endgame or one particular goal. All you have to do is survive the night by scavenging and crafting to create a fire. But there's a lot of depth to what you'll be crafting, which I wouldn't want to spoil, of course. Bully. This Rockstar underrated classic is about a kid who goes to Bulworth Academy filled with bullies and has to deal with them. You attend classes, help other kids from bullies, romance with girls. It took a typical Rockstar formula and condensed it to a high school format, which is unexpectedly cool. Max Payne. Max Payne is a classic neo-noir thriller that came out 18 years ago, inspired by The Matrix and other movies at the time. It pretty much helped create the bullet time gunplay in video games. And its narrative was told in storyboards instead of cutscenes like any other game these days, which fits its theme and still very worth your time, and it has aged really well. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Before BioWare did Mass Effect, this was their defining title. It had memorable characters and story if you're familiar with Mass Effect. Role-playing played an important role than combat in this game, which is big for any RPG fans. It's a Star Wars game and you'll get to be a Jedi. What more do you want? Transistor. This console port is one of the best in my opinion, as I played it mostly with one hand. You'll play as Red, who has a transistor as a weapon. It has both turn-based and real-time combat. It plays out in isometric view like any other Supergiant game. You also get to attach a gamepad for your iPhone if you've got one. Bastion. Speaking of Supergiant, this was their first game and one of their best iOS games in my opinion. It stands out for its story and art direction. The levels are short but have crazy hidden loot and different enemy types. The weapons are interesting and there's always something new around the corner. Wayward Souls. This is a mobile game that was ported to PC because that's how good it was. It feels like the gameplay of Zelda in a dungeon roguelike with escalating challenge of the Dark Souls series. There's about 6 different class types you can choose from for each run. It's incredibly satisfying, like Binding of Isaac. Grim Fandango. If you know LucasArts, you probably know about Grim Fandango. You talk to people, collect and examine objects to solve puzzles. Its story and art was great, but wasn't a commercial hit. A truly underrated masterpiece with cartoonish noir and wacky characters. Crossy Road. The only goal in this game is to cross as many roads as possible without dying. There's something oddly satisfying about doing just that. The concept for this game came from the joke, "Why did the chicken cross the road?" It's very addictive, just like any other endless runner games. The Shivah. This point-and-click adventure game stood out at the time because of its themes on Jewish faith. It's more interesting because of its tight decision trees in its narrative. Also, you actually feel like you're solving a crime, as you mostly get to do without no hands. It's actually one of a kind. Don't miss this one out. Snakebird. This simple yet charming puzzle game is a combination of Snake and Angry Birds, but you change shapes and move around to solve them. This game really tests your thinking part of the brain to actively make you think and solve each level in a way that makes you feel clever. Vice City. If you're anything like me, you played hours playing this as a kid back in the 2000s. This classic GTA is known for its 80s music and fun missions. Probably one of the best GTAs in the PS2 era. This iOS port is very playable and has enhanced visuals, which is a bonus. The controls are much better than the GTA 3 port as well.
So those were my picks for the best games I've played and enjoyed so far. Did I miss anything? Well, you know what to do. If you can't get a particular game in your country for some reason, well, you can use Smart VPN to get past those geo restrictions alongside getting Netflix America, Hulu, and whatnot. Like the video if you did, and oh no, I'm trapped inside a mobile. Click that red subscribe button to let me out.